Okay, so this is a public safety meeting for the Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council for the 28th of May. So I'm going to do roll call, hoping that our last member shows up here, but yeah. Is she on? Wait a minute. Is she on the other side? Unlicensed room, whatever that is. No, not yet. Okay. So roll call. John Barbera,
Yeah.
Kelly Miller,
Here.
Gwen Henry, not here. Melanie Lebrecq, here. So scroll up here. So right now we'll have public comment on any non-agenda items that anybody has. Let's see. Lori. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Lori.
Got it. Thank you. Just a minor point in the future. I think it would be helpful in the agenda if you actually listed the name of the property instead of just putting an address.
Oh, I put the address only because it's about the address and not necessarily the property
the address
for
is the
these
property.
purposes tonight.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying in the future, it would be helpful to list the name of the program. So that's
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Um, so next item, I keep looking for our
I
other
am. I'm watching.
person. Oh, she's here. She's over there. So there she is. Okay. Gwen, y'all set?
Yes, I am. I'm going to be on mute a lot because of the puppy dogs are crying.
Okay.
I just gave them a bath and it ran a little long.
Okay, so moving on. So next public comment, or any more public comment at all? No? Okay, so the next item is discussion to approve Council File 260275 regarding 2100 Western Avenue. So let me pull it up. So this is the original motion that was done by Councilman McCoster. And basically, it just states that about the senior care facilities and about planning department, assistance of department, building safety, and all that for the 2100 Southwestern Avenue, San Pedro Transitional Housing, inpatient, outpatient. So anyway, and then they did a amendment, which was this. It says, I further move that the city council instruct the general services department request a Class A appraisal of the property. The appraisal should be evaluated and incorporated in the city's report and findings. I further move the city council instruct the Los Angeles Housing Department to report the rules and regulations as well as rights and responsibilities for residents. So that's the amendment to it. And then this is just, there's a couple of people like this that made public comments on here that I thought were relevant, to share some of the things that some of the public has said. And one of the things was from this Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Starrett, retired. And he talks about here about you know, his concerns. I don't know if you can read this. I can kind of try and enlarge it. Can you see it, John?
Yeah.
I just thought it was valuable to just hear all sides on this. There's, and then there's another one here. That is someone else weighed in. And it's like, and that's a stakeholder that put something in there. So what I wrote up, it says, resolve, the Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council supports the motion by Council Member Tim McCoster to instruct the Planning Department with the assistance of the Department of Building and Safety and in consultation with the City Attorney to prepare a report outlining the land use regulatory controls that would apply or could be made applicable to the proposal submitted for the expansion or development of the property located at 2100 Southwestern Avenue in San Pedro as transitional housing, inpatient and outpatient mental health services, or any other state licensed community care facility. This report should also include an explanation of any applicable state and federal regulatory controls and laws that would govern such a proposal should one be submitted. So, can I have somebody move this?
So moved by Gwen Henry.
Okay, and a second?
I'm kind of confused. I want to have discussion about this before I move or second or
You
anything.
have to have a move.
You have to move it. Move
That's-
it first and then it can be discussed.
Then it can be discussed.
I'll second it.
Okay, and then now discussion.
Okay.
So
So I'm
Gwen,
not really.
well,
Okay.
Gwen's got her hand up. So Gwen,
I am, so Tim has already instructed the planning department, correct?
right,
With the
right.
assistance of building
That's what
safety.
that motion
So
was.
I am very, very glad that he made this move. Analysis is needed. Again, I'm not against any mental health care facility, but this just hasn't gone through the standard and what I would consider common sense rules and conditions about ensuring that a place is fully vetted and that it goes through the community impact statements, EIRs, and everything like that before moving forward. Yeah, I consider this entire process that the state has created a potential waste of taxpayer funds that is absolutely profound. And I mean, there is no guarantee. They have not. I asked the Fred Brown people, they don't even know if the plumbing needs to be repaired or if the roof needs to be completely redone. All of that money for that grant could just go into a portion of the repairs and changes that need to be made for this to even work. And that would be the case of any organization that takes over this site. So I am so glad that he has done what he can to try to protect those particular, get those things going and notify from the city side that this is important. Yeah.
Kelly,
Okay. What I'm concerned about is, when did this become a mental health place? I thought this was supposed to be no, wait a minute.
Oh,
What it was first presented as was a drug recovery. That's a big difference. Drug and alcohol recovery program to a mental health place.
you're breaking up, Kelly, but
Sorry.
it's been proposed as both. When you
Okay,
look at the federal grant application, it's being proposed as both. It's incorporating all of it.
well then, no. There's a big difference between drug and alcohol rehab and a mental health institute. That's a very, very big difference. I mean, look at Latterman State Hospital mental hospitals versus, I know some beautiful drug and recovery programs in Orange County at some of the major hospitals and stuff that are phenomenal. And that's a big difference from a mental institution and a drug and alcohol rehab. Very different things.
Yeah.
May I reply to that?
Huh?
May
Yeah,
I reply to that?
They concerns are that, yeah, and I get your concerns, but they are incorporating all of the above into it. It's different beds in different sections for different subsets of people, and they have a certain amount of beds and patients for different amounts that they're treating. And so, yeah.
May I reply to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Kelly, of course, any addiction does have a mental health component to it. There are many reasons why someone may go to substance abuse. And it's those underlying things that need to be addressed along with the addiction. It can't be one or the other. So this is, I believe that this is the right combination of things for any facility. But what we're talking about right now is the process in which these funds are being distributed, the lack of common sense oversight, analysis. It's like it's all out the bathwater, baby out of the bathwater. So this is dealing with one concern with it. I don't think that we can argue that we don't want mental health care. I don't think that's good for the state of California either. But we should, because they are conjoined, and there are many places, and like you said, you saw one in Orange County. There are places all, everywhere that are popping up, including with Fred Brown, that are where there are services, wraparound services for other issues that need to be addressed. And so this is something that has shown in many states to be successful. But what we're talking about here is state of California process is, yeah, she'll pop back in. State of California process is just not, it's profoundly lacking in, and I would be surprised that any facility would end up being successful with this kind of process that they have set into place, where they just give money without.
So let's let those attending here speak. Okay, Lori, I'm going to call on you. Go ahead, Lori.
Thank you. So first of all, you said that you wanted to show different opinions, but did you solicit anybody's opinion? Just listen, please. Did you solicit anybody's opinion who disagrees with you? Because that's what we should be doing as neighborhood councils, looking at both sides. In the amendment, it mentions something Class A. I'm not familiar what that is. We voted for Proposition 1 because we know we do not have enough substance use disorder facilities and mental health facilities in California. We approve this. If you think the state awarded a grant of $73 million without doing any research or vetting this organization, I don't know what you're thinking. Currently, California has had 67 Prop 1 grants, 15 of which are in LA County, 9 of them with over 50 beds, and only 2 in the entire South Bay area, and the other one is in Hawthorne. There is a need out there, okay? And this facility, and this is a highly respected organization, but regardless, right now on your agenda, you're just voting whether to approve this motion to analyze the planning. You're not, this shouldn't be a discussion about the whole thing. Read what the motion's about. Okay, that's fine. They can analyze this. I have no problem with that. But if you're going to say you're going to show other opinions, we should really do that. Thank you.
Yeah, just for point of clarification, this is a council file that we are showing support for our councilmen to support. That is it for the doing a look into these things. This is not, as far as any discussion that's going to occur, the open discussion is on the agenda for the next few items that we're going to discuss. And that's why I put it as discussion items, so that we could discuss both sides of this and be open to both sides to have a discussion about the public safety aspect of this. And that's why I said I was open to both sides. So, Gail, go ahead. You can unmute yourself. You got it? There you go, Gail. Go ahead. Are you able to speak? You there, Gail?
We can come back to her.
Gail, do you have a mic? Okay, I'm going to come back to you, Gail. Okay. Anybody else want to speak on this? If not, I'm going to, oops. Thomas? Thomas, you want to speak?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Birkin?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
okay,
got it?
Wonderful. Hi, my name is Tom Hyatt. I am the Community Outreach Director and also a counselor here at Fred Brown Recovery Services. And I just want to go back in time a little bit. This is actually the second grant that we've been awarded by the Department of Healthcare Services. We were going to build last year, we were awarded $61 million to build a brand new building on 9th Street here in San Pedro. And the facility would have been about half as many residential clients as the Little Sisters property has. Mr. McCosker wrote us a very powerful letter of support for that 9th Street project, extolling our virtues and how competent and how good we are. And I just think it's interesting that, we were good enough for that, but we're not good enough for Serenity. But I also do want to point out that Prop 1 and AB 531 that followed that pretty much eliminate any local city or county vetting of these projects whatsoever. And so what happened at 9th Street is we had a partner in that venture. And once we were awarded the money, our partner kind of changed the terms of the deal a little bit. So we backed out. It wasn't a good fit for us anymore. And these projects are use it or lose it. So when we backed out of that project, that money was gone. The Department of Healthcare Services, who vetted us thoroughly, encouraged us to once again apply for this final round of grants. And once again, they awarded us money for this project. And I do want to say one other thing. There's been so much misinformation floating out there. I know pretty much everything about this project, and I say this with the greatest of respect. I am not aware of anybody asking Fred Brown if we know whether or not the plumbing is working in that building. There are currently about 75 residents in that building. I imagine the plumbing does. Well, we actually have clients here at Fred Brown that work in that building. So I'm not sure what that issue is all about. And even if there was, this grant money is simply to purchase the property. That's all the money is for. It won't pay for any renovations inside the project. But anyways, I really appreciate the opportunity to come on and speak to you guys. I am always available to answer any questions whatsoever. because there's been so much misinformation about I'm probably getting off topic here and I apologize, about the number of clients that are going to be served there. And we have put out the truth for so many months now, and it just doesn't seem to stick as well as I'd hoped that it would. But again, I'm always available and I would love to have anybody who wants. I work at our outpatient clinic at 505 South Pacific, and we would love to have anybody who wants to come down into our facility, see how we work. We've been in business for over 43 years. And this project, I think a lot of people think that on day one, when the doors are open, the facility is going to be flooded. And that's just not true. We've submitted a 5-year ramp up plan to where, we're going to, over a 5-year period, ramp up to maybe 75% capacity. So anyway, again, always here to discuss this with anybody. I love to, and so I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Lorene. Lorene, can you unmute?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Just a couple of points. I just feel like, based on my citizen's point of view, I've done some digging as well as many others have, and I really feel like the state has not done its due diligence. There are a number of discrepancies in various areas of the grant application. We are discussing public safety and a displacement of elders, and it's unsafe. It's unconscionable. All of the other is fine, whether people are qualified or not, and why the property costs twice as much or over twice as much than it did a year ago. All of these things will and should be discussed. But right now we're talking about safety, and this is an unsafe place. There's no EIR, no traffic study, 1,000 extra cars a day, the pressure on our emergency services, the level of lack of due diligence is absolutely shocking to me. And all of the other seems to be, interesting, maybe true, but we need to talk about safety and the well-being of our seniors first and foremost.
I believe that we're probably going to get into the heavy discussions about those things, but in relation to this particular CIS, can we focus on the CIS at the moment? And in the later discussion topics, then we will talk about that. And Tom, I do hope that you remain, because I do have some questions. And thank you for coming. Thank you very much.
So what we're doing right now is the CIS to support the zoning requests and all that, and look at reappraisal and all of that for the property that Tim had put in, and we're supporting that. And
absolutely.
So basically, this is a discussion about that, and then I'm going to dig deep into the public safety stuff in just a minute here. Okay, so hold on, I'm going to mute you, and then
thank you.
Hand back up again for the other stuff. Okay. Gail, were you able to talk yet, or does your mic work? Okay, so we're gonna do that and do that, lower hand. Okay, so that being said, I'm calling for the vote. So I'm gonna do a roll call vote on this. John.
Wait, make sure that we're done with discussion first.
We are.
Do that quick question.
We are. Right. Everybody's happy and the public's done. So John.
All right.
Abstain.
Kelly. Kelly.
Yes.
Gwen.
Yes.
Melanie. Yes. So motion carries to put this before the board for approval for the CIS. Next, our next item coming up is going to be let's go back to the agenda. And the next item on the agenda, Adrian, you have your hand up. What's up? You're unmuted.
No, I had a public comment on
this item, but it's already closed.
It's already closed. Yeah,
Yeah, I
we
mean, I
took a
put
vote.
my hand up right before the vote, though. So,
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah, okay.
It's just a CIS. There's plenty
I
of
know, but
time to comment on.
I know, but I had a question on the CIS though. So, but the vote's
Would
already
you?
taken.
What do you want?
Well, my
Do.
question was, if this was a planning, if this was related to the property, shouldn't the CIS have gone to planning and land use
Yes, but they
committee?
didn't do it.
Oh, okay.
They didn't do it. So
Well, okay,
call
yeah. I mean,
me
that's just
Connie.
yeah.
Call me
It was the
Connie
first I
Cleanup.
view.
Yeah, since I was
Because
public, I went ahead and did it. I was playing cleanup on aisle 5.
okay, yeah. I mean, to me, yeah, just at a first glance, it just didn't make sense that a CIS that is related to planning is not in the planning committee. And from the last night's joint planning, it seems like they are working on something related to Fred Brown, and they're going to have it at their next meeting. So, I mean, it was just my concern and confusion. So, never mind. That's my comment.
Alrighty, no problem. Thanks. Whoops. So moving on. So the next item is discuss in a continuing conversation, because there was, in reference, it's about 2100 Avenue proposal for public safety concerns. So last month, Planning and Land Use had a big discussion about different things about the 2100 Western Avenue address and different planning aspects of it and a whole kebab of stuff. One thing is that, and I attended it, Gwen attended it, and several other members of the community attended it. And one of the things was to continue to have this continuing conversation in our neighborhood council about different aspects so that the public could be able to weigh in as well as us as neighborhood council members. So as a public safety committee, this is where we're going to just talk about some of the public safety concerns. So I'm going to start with board members first, the committee members, and see if they have anything to say or anything that they want. Gwen?
Well, we did develop some ideas for public safety in that prior meeting. Sorry about my barking dogs. And we'll be developing that further. So it would be great to hear everybody who is on this call to hear their ideas, because this was going to be a collaborative letter between public safety and, of course, planning and land use is leading it, and we'll be supplementing it with other aspects. But there's a lot of thoughts that are kind of melding and concerns and a list of things to discuss.
I'm going to share something. I had the pleasure of sitting down with the captain at the fire department today. And these are some of the notes that were pulled, if I can get to it on this darn thing. It keeps pulling other stuff on me. Stop it. Here we go. So, couple of things that the fire department said and concerns. Fire department meeting, he said it will affect South Shore Station 101, which is located where the station is. Resources would possibly be taken away from the area when Station 101 responds. So when they respond, then it says they have to call. If they have another call in that area, they would have to call another station to come that way. So it would delay about 15 minutes response to someone, because they're, and vice versa. If they had someone responding to them, to someone else in the area, and they had to call for them, then again, it would be a 15-minute response to get somebody out of the area to come to that area for the 101. So at the station, as I said, another call in the area would require a response from out of area, which would be a ripple effect, especially with budget cuts and operating on skeleton resources as it is that we have. we aren't operating with full capacity of large amounts of fire department or police either. There are 9 stations in the harbor area. So out of those 9 stations, 5 stations have ambulances. 4 ambulances have paramedics. 1 has EMT services. No medical rescue or transport to hospital is what an EMT service is. Year to date, there have been 128 EMS calls to 2100 Western Avenue. In December to February, when the illegal facility was in there, and it was not Fred Brown, it was another facility in there, they had 85 calls. There are more need for ambulances for the 848 category, which are EMT response category of ambulances. A lot of the calls are for fall or broken leg or cut, which doesn't require an ambulance response of a full paramedic. An EMT can handle some of those calls. And so a budget to expand that would be beneficial to have more of those. He said concerns at Ocean View regarding discerning what is a 911 call, as the general public has this problem too, discerning what a 911 call is and what it is not. And it's being worked out between Ocean View and LFD because there's been several calls lately of just picking somebody out and up that has fallen and putting them back in bed and some of those situations. So they're working with the ombudsman there to kind of figure out how it's going to be handled going further. But he did indicate that it could be a task, that a heavy lift on the resources that we have at this time in San Pedro. So anyway, we have some people in the public that have their hands up. Does anybody else? Let's take some public responses. Cheryl, I'm going to allow you to talk because you haven't talked yet.
Thank you. I would like to point out that you even said could, may. And by the way, the bit about calling for if they're on a call anywhere and they have to have another call, they will always have to call out of area. That has nothing to do with that address. Thank you.
Lori?
Hi, thank you. So I think it's important that we always refer to actual facts and that we can name the source of our facts. Earlier, somebody said there would be 1,000 extra cars per day. And this is after you said there was no traffic report done or environmental report. To my knowledge, Fred Brown has never said that. So that's conjecture. The fire department meeting is him speculating on what could happen. It's not based on facts. And in fact, if you're going to look at that, once seniors are no longer there, you won't have all those calls for seniors. To my knowledge, in meeting with Fred Brown, in the last year with all their sober living houses, they've only had 2 911 calls, and those were like heart attacks. They weren't related to necessarily something with drug addiction or crime or something like that. So we need to be talking about real facts, not speculating what could happen. I could spin the story in a whole other way of how many people it will help, but I want it to be based on facts. So please, anytime somebody's throwing numbers out here, please tell me what the source of your information is so that we can confirm it. Very, very important that we do that. Thank you.
So I want to be clear here. This was with the captain at the fire department. I want to be very clear about that. And he is a representative of all stakeholders. So he's given me information that can be helpful for us to understand. And as far as facts, their facts are right there. 128 EMS calls, 911, year to date. I was asking for information about how they respond, what the setup is, how through the harbor area there are different stations. This is facts. This is his words, not my words. This is what he said to me. So these are the facts, Lori. Excuse me, but that's what they are. And this is him telling me what he could tell me on record.
May I bring another point of view to this?
Go ahead, Gwen.
Once again, the reason for the CIS that we just had was because that we don't have community impact reports and we don't have EIRs and the rest of it. It is hard to know, to quantify EMT things until a similar and corresponding sized facility that is already going on in a similar community, and then look at what potentially already is occurring within another facility that is of the same description and of the same numbers. So these are facts being delivered by the fire department, but it is because we do not have a community impact report and we don't have an analysis that these are contentious. It would not be contentious if the state had a process to analyze these things and to, you know, and to bring those facts. It's our job to try to respond however we can. And I actually would like to hear Tom Hyatt, because I had Tom, because I had some questions, and that may help fill out more, you know, he'll have more information about different things that we have concerns about.
I'm going to go to Lorene first. Lorene? I try and it won't let me. I'm trying to ask to
Hello?
unmute and it's not me. Are you able to talk? There we go.
I am. Can you hear me? Thank you. No?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I really think that's a great idea that we need more facts. And that's, I think the crux of the problem is we don't have enough facts and people are conjecturing, but the conjecturing is not out in left field or based on air. If you look at the outpatient numbers, if you look at the increased, the change of use, if you look at the proposed number of individuals just interned, and then those on top of that visiting, and then you add to that the additional needs for employees and services like just services in general, whether it's laundry or whatever else it is. You start adding all of that up. It doesn't take a huge amount of imagination to see a exponential number of cars and other kinds of service vehicles. And so when I said 1,000, yes, that was conjecture. But this is precisely why we need a proper traffic study, first of all and foremost, in any larger project that I've ever been involved in. The first thing we ever did was a traffic study. And it would allay a lot of these fears and yes, and get us more facts. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorene. I'm going to allow unlicensed room. I don't know who this is.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name's Denise Johnson. I'm here about the safety concerns about the 2100 Western Avenue. As this is not a small operation. This is large. Like, anyways, we're told that it will be an outpatient with like 200 plus clients per day. That's coming and going. That's ride shares, drop offs, 200 times a day on Western. Then when you add staff, you've got maybe 20 staff across 3 shifts. That's going to be 60 more trips daily. Then you add the food deliveries, the medical supplies, trash, all that other stuff, vendors that we, and then there's a school and a church within walking distance. So I also have a concern. Is there a pedestrian safety plan for the kids walking, you know, for the church and the preschool and all that? And then you mentioned the fire department and the police department. They're already stretched thin in San Pedro. So response times are limited. So I support recovery, but I just don't think that we're ready yet to be voting. I think that this issue should be put off until we can get a proper traffic study. That's just my opinion. Anyways, that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So now, Thomas, are you still have your hand up or no, or yes? Okay, there you go.
I'm back. Yeah, just a couple of things. I'll be happy to answer any questions. A couple quick points, because there's been a lot of talk about the residents that are currently there, the senior residents, and I have no idea why. But that facility, as a senior assisted living facility, has not been able to make money for a long, long time. Those residents were going to be relocated long before Fred Brown was ever involved with that property. So we keep getting accused of displacing those residents. We have nothing to do with that whatsoever at all. Again, they were going to be relocated long before we were ever involved. A couple of other things with respect to the captain of the fire department. I can't argue his facts. I actually kind of like his facts, but I would note, as somebody else noted, that he does say would possibly be taken away. So I was actually at a couple months ago the South Shores Community Association meeting at the Elks Lodge, and I'm sure, I don't remember his name, but that same captain spoke, and he used that 85 number that you have, Melanie, on your screen right now. This year, okay, and there's about 75 residents at the at Ocean View right now, and we've got about 122 scattered down here in San Pedro. Okay, and Lori hit it on the head. This year, we have only had 2 911 calls to our recovery bridge housing homes, and they were both for physical illnesses. Had nothing to do with drugs, alcohol. I think one was chest pains. I forget what the other one was, but only 2 911 calls that we had all year with over 120 clients. Captain McGuire spoke at the SSCA meeting that night as well, and he said, and I know you guys aren't South Shores, I respect that, but he said that while those sober, and I thank you, Melanie, for acknowledging that they were not Fred Brown sober living people, because we still get blamed for that. He said that while those sober living people were on that facility, he said, in his words, no uptick in crime. But for 2 hours, all I heard from the residents were how there were people ODing in the aisles at Bonds, and there was just crime everywhere, which was contradicted by Captain McGuire, but it just didn't seem to stick at all. I have spoken with the police in this area and also the fire station on Grand Avenue, and both entities have told me that Fred Brown is no burden whatsoever on the fire department or the police department in this area. So there's no reason to think that we would be any burden whatsoever on the police or the fire department at 2100 Southwestern. There's just no basis for that speculation. And I also want to quickly comment on the 1,000 cars. I mean, again, I respect the fact that, I forget who said that, was Laureen, I forget, acknowledge the fact that was speculation. There will never be 1,000 cars a day going to that facility. Also, in terms of population numbers, we have here at 505 where I work, our first group in the morning starts at 7:30 at night, and our last group starts at 7 o'clock at night. So those 175 to 200 outpatient clients that will be on the property during the day will be during that 12-hour period. I mean, at this point at 505, there's like never more than, like, say, 50 clients on this property. And that's about what I would expect at Serenity too. So it'll never be overrun with people. The treatment will always be in. There's also talk about, well, I don't want to get off the safety issue, but anyways, we've been here in this area operating for 43 years. We are surrounded by schools and churches, and we have never had one issue with our clients in 43 years causing any problem at the churches or schools at all. What else? I guess I think that's about. Oh, also, lastly, so I drive by almost every day 8th Street, where there's, I think it's called Harbor View assisted living facility, and almost every day there's an ambulance outside that facility. So, you know, that's just not our experience at Fred Brown. And so, and again, so I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Gwen, you had a question for him? Can we like make it concise because there's other people's hands up?
I actually would like to wait. Adrian had his hand up, and I would hope that we would have a focused discussion with Tom
Or still
as a
on?
separate.
Okay. So Adrian, where are you? Adrian,
Oh,
unmute
hello.
yourself.
Yes, I'm here. Hello. Yes, it's some of the same concerns I had as the rest, where yes, you have 120 EMS calls. And yes, that could be the fact, but I think it's better to go in depth to understand what EMS calls are there. I think that is one thing to know because it's easy to say, 120 EMS calls, but then not put in where those EMS calls actually take place or, what is the situation. Also, it is my understanding that this property is going to be 24-hour supervised and that it's not a walk-in, walk-out where people can just freely go ahead. So I think that also is another consideration on the security of the property and the operation that these people who are going to be going into the center are not going to just wander out, go outside freely. So yeah, those are my takes on that. So I would just recommend if you're going to put a number like that on 128 EMS calls, I'd recommend go deeper into where those calls are going because from just my perspective, I mean it's great, but I mean there's more questions to that. So thank you.
Part of the problem was the captain was being like, he looked up that address and he said that address had that many calls. And he said it was the 85 were to the Serenity side, all from December to February. The 128, the rest of them have been for the other side, for Oceanside going forward because they're for the elderly. But this
right.
85 were for when that other facility that wasn't supposed to be there was there.
Right, but then that also comes into the play where it's like if those 80, what are so then okay, what are the 85? Were the 85 from the facility that was there illegally related to drug addiction?
Yes, they were overdoses.
85 EMS calls were for overdosing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just want to get those numbers. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to go to some of these people that have not talked at all. So Emma, you're next. Unmute yourself.
Sorry, my name is Sally. I think it has someone else's name on there. I apologize. I'm a longtime resident of San Pedro, 40 plus years, and I'm very invested in the outcome of this project. I know that several people can sit up here and pretend as if this is not going to affect the community as a whole. One of my responses to one of the speakers, Lori Jacobs, who wants to speak in facts. So yes, let's speak in facts. We've got Tom Hyatt sitting up there speaking, stating that there will never be 1,000 people coming and going, that this is a secured facility, that they will never be a strain and have never been a strain on our local resources. For a entity to sit there who's never operated on this level, you cannot sit there and have us believe that none of these things will happen because you cannot make those assurances to this community. You have never operated in that capacity. So for you to say that you will never be a strain on the resources, that's a completely false statement. Those are promises that you cannot make to these people. So, and then to Adrian, who just, I think one of his comments was that it's going to be a 24-hour secured facility where people cannot come and go. Please know that on their application, they were asked, is this a lockdown facility? And it was answered no. So people are free to come and go. So this community has concerns based on information that Fred Brown Recovery Services has put out there. This 900 daily slots is not just a number that we conjured up. So if you are going to put these statistics out there, then you need to be accountable and answer to those numbers that you've stated on your application. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sally. Zoom user. Zoom user. Go ahead and talk.
Hello. Oh, hi, it's Maricela. Sorry, I don't have my name on. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to know, is there going to be any detoxing on the property?
Thomas, do you want to answer?
Yeah, there will not be any detoxing on that property. That would be more of a crisis situation, more for we are not licensed for detox at all. So there will not be.
So mats won't be used then, Thomas?
No, there will be mat services available, but that's different than detoxing, though.
What is mat? Can you tell me the difference?
Well, detox is when someone is in a crisis situation where they need to be medically detoxed through medicine. Mat services are just medications that are used to block cravings, for example. It's called medication. It stands for medication assisted treatment. It's not detox medicine.
So are these people already, quote, detoxing and then they get put on these medications to stabilize them?
If they choose to be, yeah. We don't encourage those medications for any long period of time. We're just not for those at all. But it's a client's choice as to whether or not they want to take those. But we do not encourage them.
And then is there going to be any kind of medical doctor, a nurse?
We have a full medical staff. There's actually medical facilities already on that property. And hopefully before too long, we'll have full dental. Again, we already have a full medical staff. Our medical staff has grown exponentially just in the last 6 months. We have a completely adequate medical staff. They've been doing this. We have our medical director is a gentleman named Dr. Merrick, who is one of the very few certified alcohol addiction specialists in the country. But I do want to clear up some other things, okay? I am not a predictor of the future. I never said that anything wasn't going to happen. All I said was we have never encountered those things. And it's really not fair to say that they're going to happen. None of us are predictors of the future, but I think the best way we can predict the future is by what has happened in the past. And we just haven't had those things in 43 years. Adrian was right. I mean, it's not a lockdown facility, but people just don't walk away from our program. If they want to leave, we take people wherever they want to go, as far as San Diego, wherever someone wants to go, we take them to where they want to go and give them a warm handoff. There's just no reason for anybody to walk off the property. It just does not happen. And the big issue of slots, I mean, that is not Fred Brown's word. Slots is a word that was created by the Department of Healthcare Services. And what that means, it's appointments or number of chairs per day. So for example, I'm also a counselor here, and I tend to see my clients on days they have group. So when they see me and then they have group, that's 2 slots. So the slots will amount to, again, about 175 to 200 people over the course of a 13-hour day. So again, you're not going to have 200 people on the outpatient clients on the property at any given time. It just isn't going to happen that way.
Well, then why is it stating 900 on the application?
It's slots, ma'am. If you look at that's the Department of Healthcare Services term, not ours. 900 slots. It's not 900 people. It's 900 slots.
Okay, so say the average is what, two
To
per? That's still a lot. That's still
Um,
like, it's still a lot of slots. It's a lot.
Okay, again, that's the Department of Healthcare Services number. We anticipate 175 to 200 clients a day.
Okay, well, the math is not mathing, but so okay, so Dr. Merrick, you said what is his role here? Who does he oversee, and what is he required to be there? I understand that he's the best doctor, in the United States for, drug addiction. But what is his requirement to be at the facility? Because I would think there should be somebody there every day.
We have Dr. Merrick works over at one of our men's residential treatment centers over on 14th Street. In my building, we have Dr. Nelson, another physician. We have a full nurse practitioner staff. We have LVNs. We have physician assistants. We are quite well staffed in terms of our medical department.
Okay, so you're saying that no one's going to be detoxing on the property.
They will not be detox. We're not licensed for that, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, well, I use when there was a pop-up Serenity program here, October to March, I saw an uptick in crime here. There was robberies and stolen cars. There was drug needles all over the place that neighbors found. I had people knocking on my door, looking in my garage. So, the crime will come into the neighborhoods.
Well, I understand one thing, okay? So those people were sober living people. There's a huge difference between sober living people and residential bridge housing people. Sober living residents are not in treatment at all. All of our clients, every single one of our clients are in treatment. They're here to better their lives, to repair their families, to be more productive members of society. Those people, I think, were shipped in from back east, and they were in no sense interested whatsoever in recovery. They were just, living at that facility for a couple of months. And I got to tell you, and if that's the number, if that's what the fire captain told you, Marlene, I obviously can't dispute it. But having worked in this industry, I find 85 overdoses in a period of 2 months. That just seems really, really excessive to me. Maybe there were 85 calls, but 85 overdoses, that's just incomprehensible. And I know it's not your number, it's the fire captain's number, but
I had another question. I know we talked about slots, but what are the 122 beds? I mean, I would think.
No, it's 106 residential beds.
What does that mean?
That means those clients will live on the property.
But why?
Because they're inpatient, they're clients.
I know, inpatient, why though?
It's just a higher level of care is all. They want to be, they want to live in a safe environment, and just receive their treatment on the property and not leave. Residential
See, when
care,
I think of beds, and you can clarify this, I think of detoxing, getting, and mental health issues being.
no, that's not what this is.
Well, I think what's that?
That's not what this is. Betty Ford is a residential treatment center. Tarzana Treatment Center is a residential treatment center. Changing Spirits is a residential treatment center. Clients live on the property and receive their treatment and stay on the property. It's just safer for them.
And then you're talking. I heard you. I came into the call late. You said something about you guys, Fred Brown, not kicking out the seniors.
We have nothing to do with that, ma'am. That property has not made money for years. That property was going to be sold long before Fred Brown ever got involved. We have absolutely nothing to do with those senior residents being relocated. Nothing at all. They were going to be relocated regardless of whether or not the property was ever offered to us.
Yeah, but maybe it could have been like a senior center.
Ma'am, it hasn't made money for years. That's why it's being sold.
Thank you for
Okay,
your time.
Thank
people
you.
got hands up. So I'm going to move on to Lori. Go ahead. Lori, unmute yourself. Is this thing not going to
Thank
let
you.
me in?
You just unmuted me. Thank you. So I just wanted to point out, first of all, I think this is a great opportunity for your safety committee to put together a program and educate the public on the proper use of 911, because people have a tendency to call when it's not really emergency and they jam up and overuse resources. So that would be great, Melanie, if your committee could look at doing that in the future. And
I,
you know, the world, the economy, the world is tough right now. Healthcare costs, food costs, gas costs, and people are struggling. And when people are struggling, they turn to alcohol and or drugs to cope quite often. So the problem is increasing. And as long as we don't help people who want to stop, it's going to increase. And most of you know, okay, I went through an inpatient program, and as that woman was just on there, I needed to stay there until I was stabilized and I felt comfortable now going back and living at home, because I had to learn new patterns, new life skills to make sure I didn't fall back into that same behavior. And I am so grateful, which is why I'm involved with this, to pay it back to others. There's a lot of people that are struggling, and we want to give them as many opportunities as possible. And I've done some research, and my homelessness liaison report last month had information showing there's a good chunk of people who wanted to get treatment and it wasn't available. So the need is there. Fred Brown is trying to, I mean, honestly, I wish it could be bigger. The need is absolutely there, and we need to help as many people as possible. And you don't want to put them in detox for a week and say, okay, you're fine, go out there. They have to stay in the program, understand, get to the root causes of why they were using drugs or alcohol, and build their life back and get rehabilitated. So if we don't help people, the problem is going to get worse and your safety issues are going to grow big. But I really wish you'd look at doing a program to educate people when to call 911. It's not a phone number to call for, any little thing. And that maybe could reduce the number of 911 calls. I hope you guys will consider that. Thank you.
let's see, unlicensed room.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Hi, it's Denise Johnson again. So I'd like to say I appreciate Mr. Hyatt's comments, and I just want to clarify a couple things for the record. First, he's on that 50 car max that he's stating that there'll never be more than 200, that there's only going to be 50. If that's the limit for the clients and the staff and the deliveries combined, can we put that specific number into the CUP conditions so it can be enforceable? It's question number one. Is that possible?
No.
Okay, well, it's on record that, and second, he's saying that they don't have detox, and thanks for confirming that, Mr. Hyatt. So can we also put that there's no detox services in the CUP conditions so that way it'll be more clear for the LA Fire Department and neighbors? Just asking if we can put that in there and clarify that more, since that's what he's stating.
Okay.
And then lastly, it's Dr. Merritt, that's their doctor. So I appreciate having a facility doctor. Can the CUP also include the medical staffing, specifically how many hours per week the physician is physically going to be on site, and what 24/7 medical coverage is, what they provide for these people? It's just so vague right now, and we're just listening to what he's saying. I mean, we don't really have reports or studies or anything on this. So I think it's too vague.
Denise, can you clarify what the first thing was that you said?
Sure. He had stated that there'll never be how people are talking about there's going to be 200 cars going, back and forth a day. And he stated that it never is that much. He stated that it's like going to be 50 cars max. So can we put that number, specific number, into CUP conditions so it's enforceable?
It's always suggestible that it could.
Well, I'm asking that it is.
I can send your request to McCoster.
Thank you. And then you got the second about the detox. Can we put that in there too? Because he's stating that there's no detox services. So that means that these people that are coming there, usually detox is anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks. So that means that these clients will have to previously detox somewhere else before they have access to this facility.
Right.
So that I'd like that in writing. That would help the fire department and neighbors. It would help clear up issues for them.
Did Tom leave the room?
No, he's here.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Okay, good.
And then you understood my third part about Dr. Merritt, right?
Okay.
Okay. And that's it.
Thank you. So I'm just going down the list here. Lorene? Lorene?
Yes, hi. Denise just hit 3 of the points I wanted to make with my hand up. But I also wanted to address Tom, sorry, his last name, directly and refer him to page 76 of the application. It clearly states this facility is unlocked. And having been involved in rehab myself, both as an architect and as a family member, I can say with no uncertain terms that you have to be qualified to run a place of this scale and size. I still question that in particular. This is a completely different scale. This facility will be what, the second or third likely, and if they expand with the additional building on the other lot, one of the largest facilities in the United States of America. That needs to sink in. I'm getting I think we're all getting kind of fuzzy answers that we don't have real knowledge about numbers, and it's really disconcerting. It's not a feel-good conversation. This is about facts and figures on every level, including the ability to run a facility of this scale. So, yeah, basically that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, Thomas?
Thanks. And I just want to clear up something that Denise said, and thank you for the compliment, Denise. The 200 number and the 50 number were clients, not cars. And so the anticipated number of clients here at Serenity will be 175 to 200 clients a day, not cars. I don't know if I wasn't clear about that or if you misunderstood me. And what I said was here at 505, we never really have more than 50 clients. We have 4 meeting rooms here, and usually 3 are in use at any given time. Group sizes are limited to 12 by law, so that's 36 clients. And just to make the numbers even, let's say there were 14 clients in the lobby waiting to see their therapist or their counselor, their case manager. That's 50 clients that we would have, and that's just a complete estimate on what goes on here in this building. That's all that was. And I never said that this was going to be a locked facility. We can't by law lock the facility. There will be 24/7 security. And as I said, clients just don't walk away from program. They just don't do it. And I can't really stress that enough. Again, if somebody wants to leave, we'll take them wherever they want to go. So there's no reason for someone just to walk away in the middle of the night. And again, I want to go back because I heard this at the SSCA meeting. Captain McGuire clearly said there was no uptick in crime, but then again, he was contradicted over and over again. And I kind of like what Captain McGuire said. I mean, he is the captain of the police department. Anyways, and also Denise, with respect to Dr. Merrick, I don't have those numbers, but his requirement of being on the property are all what's dealt with in the license. And I'm sorry, I don't have those numbers off the top of my head as far as what his requirements of being on the. But we have like I say, LVNs, nurse practitioners, physician assistants here, constantly. So again, we are very well medically staffed.
Okay. So let's see what I'm going to do. Let's see. Emma. Okay. Emma, go ahead.
Hi, sorry, it's Sally again. I keep trying to change the name and it won't change it, so I apologize, but this is Sally again. I just wanted to I'll make it very quick. Mr. Hyatt's in a response to what he just said. Again, he's making assurances that and I hope I'm not misquoting his words, but I believe he said people just don't do that. They just don't walk out. Again, for an entity who has never operated at the numbers that they are going to operate, you cannot make those assurances to the community of San Pedro, telling us that that will not happen, that you have never operated these numbers to know exactly what to expect, what can happen and what won't happen. So please, again, let's stick to facts as you guys want to stick to, but you cannot make those assurances to us. Thank you.
Lorraine, is your hand up again?
Yeah.
Lorraine.
Am I still, can I talk? Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I just I guess a couple questions again. Oh shoot. Oh yeah, Dr. Merrick, how old is he? Question number one. And number two, what are the if you have 50 beds and how many outpatients, how can guess I understand he's over 80 or 80. How can one physician handle that kind of caseload on a place of this scale? I'd like that question answered.
Oh, sorry. I have to let him talk. I'm sorry. I'm like waiting for him to respond and he's muted.
Yeah. So once again, respectfully, going back to Sally's comments, I have a deep faith in God, but I am not God. I cannot predict the future, Sally, and you can't either, respectfully. So I'm not here telling you what is going to happen or not going to happen in the future. All I can tell you is what has happened in the past, that people just don't walk away from program. They don't walk out into the neighborhoods. So there's just no reason to think that that's going to happen when we're in a different location. But I'm not sitting here telling you that's never going to happen. I can't predict the future. Dr. Merrick, great guy. I think he is right around 80, but he is not. As I said, we have him over at our men's residential. We have Dr. Nelson in this building. And again, we have a whole plethora of nursing staff, nurse practitioners, physicians assistants, LVNs. We are very heavily staffed on the medical side. We have, and again, these are all licensing requirements. These are not arbitrary numbers that we have come up with. If we don't meet the number of medical staff that we need to have per the license, then we can't operate. Did I get it all? Did I miss anything?
Yeah.
Can Tom continue to have his volume up? I have a series of questions for him when it's my turn.
Okay, we've got another person in the audience. So Zoom user, Marissa. You there? Marissa? Marissa.
Hello?
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, hold on. I'm having some trouble. Give me just a moment. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Well, we
Are you
were
there?
able to hear you. We were able to hear you.
Might go. It's not there anymore. What the heck?
There we go. I think it's working now.
Yeah.
Uh, I understand that we need a lot of help for these people. It just cannot be here. It's too dense. We don't have the resources for the large scale project you guys want to have here. It's too big. We have given you 7 other properties. Have you considered those?
Where is he? Where'd he go? There we go.
I'm muted now. Ma'am, these grants are site specific. We can't just take that money and go somewhere else with it.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Yes.
So then you scoped out a place.
The place came to us. We did not scope it out.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Right.
Yeah, but I just don't think it should be here. It's too big of a place. And maybe you guys can redo this grant and go somewhere else.
That can't be, unfortunately, that can't be done.
Okay.
Okay.
But here's the thing. And again, I hope everyone understands it, that, everything I say with deep respect. I would wager that everybody, that 99% of the people who oppose this project never heard of Fred Brown before. Never. And that's because we are good neighbors. We've always been good neighbors. If you drive around the neighborhoods, our homes are the nicest homes on the block. This is a long-standing agency that, again, we've been doing this for over 43 years in this community. We know what we're doing. And understand, we appreciate and have compassion for everybody's comments. We don't just turn the blind ear to them. We do very much, we do. But we are more than capable of operating this facility, and we'll do so responsibly.
There's nothing that, from everything we've read and everything that has
But you've read
been.
so many things that are just missing and disinformation.
No, actually, well, no, we read the application. And we've read the application. And there was a lot of discrepancies to that application in your town hall.
Well,
So
again, we were heavily vetted by the state twice, and twice we've been granted money to operate.
well, reading through these letters, I don't know if you read through them, but it's more like, okay, Fred Brown comes and meets with the Department of Health Services about questions we've had, and Fred Brown just says, well, this is what we've done. And the Department of Health Services is like, okay, that's great. They don't come out here to check out, the density here and, kicking out the seniors. And we have only one fire department
We're not
here.
kicking out the seniors. We're not kicking out the seniors.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is that, like, Fred Brown is kind of just running this thing. No one's checking. There's no accountability. There's no transparency.
Point of order. Point of order. Now this is an argument. It's not actually a question and answer session. I appreciate your concerns, but now this is turning into something else. We value Tom's time here, and I have some questions pertaining to the planning and the population and a lot of other things. I hope that we can move towards that. Thank
you. Marissa, we have to move on because the meeting.
That's fine. That's fine.
Amount of time.
No problem.
Melanie, can you still hear me, Melanie?
Already?
Yes. Yes, we.
Alrighty. And so That being said, I'm going to take a public comment at this moment. I have a couple of questions. So one of the questions I have, Thomas, and maybe you can answer this for me, is one of the things that I have seen and heard, coming from the community is concerns with, you've represented certain things and certain flyers of certain numbers. And I think that's why all of this is coming up, because in the flyers it says one thing, in your town hall presentation it said another thing, and then once they've seen the application that you gave for the grant, then it's totally different. So my understanding from the federal government and working with grants before in the past myself, the binder for you guys is going to be what the federal government says. What you put on that application is going to be your binding agreement for the money that you get for from the federal government. It's not going to be what you put on some flyer or what you say in the town hall. It's going to be what you've represented to the federal government on that grant, right? Correct?
Can you hear me now?
Because that's, I think, where a lot of the confusion is coming from, because there's a lot of different numbers that have been everywhere and anywhere.
Yeah, and I will say, I was not involved with the grant application at all, but I will say this has been somewhat of a fluid situation as we've gone along and adjusted numbers. In terms of that being binding, that's a little beyond my pay grade, Melanie. I'm sorry. I can find out the answer for you, but again, I had nothing to do with the grant application whatsoever.
You've represented to the federal government on that grant is going to be the binding agreement.
Yeah, again, I had nothing to do with that. I can find out the answer for it. I'd be happy to do that, but okay. I can't really speak to the grant application.
Alrighty, thank you. Yeah. Now, go ahead. I just wanted to clarify that, why there's the number of confusion. I wanted to clarify that. Okay, so go ahead.
Me?
Yes.
Oh,
Two.
Tom. So, these are things that I kind of brought up after the very large town hall, and I hoped that the Fred Brown organization could actually create a much more thorough presentation with information that clarifies how the building is going to be redesigned for the clients, who the clients are, and because the building itself needs to be configured to make sure that the clients are safe. 109 people is a tremendous amount, and everybody is going to have other what's the phrase? Co-occurring other co-occurring issues and disorders. So right now, as far as the public knows, it could be soup to nuts. I don't mean that, in a bad way. I meant there are those 109 individuals going to be honed down to a particular population or limited, because you have people of different sexual identities, you have people with possibly schizophrenia or other things that might require dispensing of medications. You might have people who, yes, like the wonderful people who came to attest at the town hall, people who have come out of the prison system or have had criminal, they've had problems in law enforcement, and that's another rehab situation. So it would really be great if the community knew exactly who you guys were going to focus on as far as a clientele. And, I asked the question at the meeting, has anyone done an architectural analysis of the building in order to keep 109 safe? Because for example, if there, one of the desires by the state is that there are a lot of people coming out of prison systems who 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 might already have a large population, their cultural norms of dealing with others in a large population. And you know what's wonderful about all of your other places is that they are small, and that it really asks the person to focus on themselves. They are alone. There are very few people there, and they really are addressing their own things. There's not a lot of other people bringing in a whole other social network or anything like that. This is a place of solitude, safety, and small work. And this is a different animal. This is a different beast. And I just see, you know, when I asked at the meeting, I asked if there were any plans yet on how to construct or what changes needed to be made to keep the population of 109 individuals safe, and to have the flow, the flow of their residential areas private from the people who are visiting for other care, how that traffic is going to be. And, you know, architecture also, once again, creates safety. If one person comes in who's outside of the residents and outside of the patients, but they come in and are disruptive or violent or anything like that, perhaps it's somebody who left and came back with an issue. These are things that architecture helps. So
What
the
can you
community
remind
has the community wait. So I'm only asking this because there's a lot of questions for you, Tom, to answer. Has there been an in-depth architectural analysis with a list of things that, as far as expenditures, that need to be done to create safety? Who are the clientele? What is the specific groups that you might be trying to help? Because there's domestic violence as a co-occurring issue. There's all PTSD, there's all these things. Who are you going to focus on? And now, in the case of prescriptions for co-occurring issues, are you going to keep this group of people out of those prescriptions because you say that you don't want people to be on prescriptions unless you have to? Are these going to be people without prescriptive issues as co-occurring issues? If not, are you going to have a safe room for drug dispensing? Are you going to have staff who's more psychiatrist and psychologist, because a psychiatrist deals with medications? The doctor you have, can you please talk about his disciplines? Thank you.
Okay.
I am not even sure where to begin. That was a long, and I mean that respectfully, Gwendolyn. I just don't, there were like 30 questions in there, and I'm not really quite sure.
If you have questions for Tom, please send them to him, Gwen.
There were three. The three specifically. Who are your clientele going to be focused on?
Gwen, stop now. It says in the application what type of now this is something I'm going to say. This committee, and I'm going to say this right now, needs to take a moment. If you're going to ask questions about who they're going to cover and what they're going to do, take an hour and just sit down with the application and read it. They cover everybody that they're going to cover. It tells about ethnicity, the type of people they're going to cover, everything else in that application. And I'm embarrassed that we aren't informed about that and we are asking questions about that.
I want it to be public, and just a quick public statement from Tom. I want the public statement, because the number of people, the number of visits that are going to be done, he has a different number that's on the application. There's a different number that's on the than what's on the application. I want to hear from Tom what's different from the application, if there is any difference.
He said he didn't fill out the application and couldn't even answer my questions. So that is the problem.
Yeah. So perhaps those are some of the presentations that also, and that again is some of the presentations that help for these community things to verbalize it, because they are those, the application itself is very meaty, and it helps to verbalize these things as well. So,
as I said at the beginning of the meeting, I would be more than happy to meet with you and discuss this with you.
Okay, we need to move on. We need to move on. We only have so much time tonight, and I want to move on. There's other hands up. So that being said, Lori, where did you go? You had your hand up. Lori, where did your hand go?
I don't know. Where the heck are my hands? I'm sitting on them because this meeting is driving me nuts. Thank you, Melanie, for stepping in. You can't just shoot a million questions. Like Tom said, some of these things have evolved, but I just want to address the density issue. Okay. Every place in LA County is dense. How are you going to have a place that's not within a certain distance of a school or a church or a daycare center? Okay. This is not a safety concern, in my opinion. Like I mentioned earlier, in the final round of the Prop 1 grants, over 61 grants were issued in California. Okay. 15 of them are in LA County. LA County is huge. Only 2 of them cover the whole South Bay, San Pedro and Hawthorne. Other ones are in LA and other parts of LA County. Okay. People keep saying they want people to get help, but your but absolutely erases the statement that you want people to get help. And it's really hard to take seriously a group that spent a lot of time opposing a drive-through Starbucks, which, by the way, I propose they put in front of Little Sisters of the Poor, a drive-through Starbucks, okay, so that you can have something else to oppose. I just can't understand this. I understand people being concerned, okay, and we always should watch out for safety. But by golly, the sky is not falling here. We are trying to find ways to help people. California approved this funding. Okay, so maybe your issue is with the state, but Fred Brown has followed everything that they needed to do. They're showing up. They were booed and hassled at a town hall. They were disrespected. And now you want to push and ask them for answers. Tom is being very gracious and respectful, but the community on social media is being hateful, and that town hall is hateful. Melanie, I appreciate you trying to change the narrative on this, because this has to stop. We have to find a way to help people. Nothing is perfect out there. That's the end of my rant. Thank you.
Let's see, Cheryl. Allow to talk. There you go, Cheryl.
Thank you. I'm flabbergasted and astounded at the things that people, you're all just grasping at straws. I mean, this is pathetic. I don't even understand it. I can't even rant. I'm apoplectic at this point. Thank you.
Did you have your hand up a second time, Lori? Lori, is your hand up again or no? Okay, no. Alrighty. Lorene.
Yes, thank you. I'll make one more last comment here. Thank you. Lori, I want to go on record, and I take great umbrage to what you just stated. Putting words and thoughts into our mouths is beyond the pale here. I will not accept your comments. They do not reflect my thoughts or my feelings or the statistics, in my particular opinion. And so let's stay with statistics and not all of this feeling stuff. I'd like to talk about parking. So the new change, there was a change of C&O to commercial, C of O to commercial end of last year. that has an effect directly on parking. We haven't talked about parking. We haven't talked about environmental studies. This all has to go into the pot of things that have not been discussed or revealed. When you change from residential to commercial and you change the numbers, the increased beds, the increased outpatients, the increased traffic, whatever those numbers are, that impacts the air quality, that impacts noise, that impacts wildlife, that impacts quality of life, that impacts the number of parking spaces you're required to have. And those things need to be addressed in factual numbers. And I'm waiting to see that, that happens. Thank you, Tom.
John, I'm going to call on you because you have not spoken yet.
I'm going to say a couple of things. Number one, would people feel like this if it was their own family that are on alcohol or drug abuse and would rather see them out in the streets? That's one. Number two is you're worried about traffic, you're worried about parking, you're worried about this. I suggest you worry about when the bridge shuts down in November for the next 16 months for being repaired. You don't have any idea what traffic is going to be like. I drive that bridges every day to and from work, and I can tell you, soon as that damn bridge shuts down, all these streets, Gaffey, Pacific, John Gibson, Harry Bridges, Alameda, that's 110 freeway. You might be leaving at 4 o'clock in the morning just to get to work downtown. So that's it.
Okay. Then we go over here. Let's see. Denise.
Hello. Hi. So I wanted to say something about the clients. Everything's already in the application, so I just want to state it for the record. Since Fred Brown serves justice-involved clients, I want to ensure that there's a supervision plan in the CUP conditions. So if the intake assessment and the 24/7 staffing ratio and safety protocols are already in the application as stated, then can we move them into the CUP so that we can enforce these conditions, that they're enforceable? Right now, they don't state anything about their intake process. So that's really all that I have to say.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Emma. Whoops. What's going on here?
Thank you. Hi. I just had a comment. I appreciate Tom Hyatt taking our questions. I understand that he was not there during the application process. And I hope that he does take our questions and really go back to his team and come back with some clear-cut answers. So I appreciate that, Tom. Also, to Lori's comment about her being so shocked as to why this community is having the concerns and responses that we have. I think it's a very blanket comment for you to state that, oh, you're wanting to help people. What is the big deal about that? Yes, we understand that. We are not against that. The community of San Pedro is always about helping people. We have supported Fred Brown for over 4 decades, but we are also looking out for the best interest of those seniors that are currently there. So I don't understand why this notion that we should be putting the well-being of these people coming into the Fred Brown facility, why they take a priority over the community members and our kids and the seniors who have taken years and years of dedication and pride into making San Pedro what it is today. So I'm quite disappointed to hear that that is the statement that's putting on anybody that speaks out and has any concerns regarding this project. So that's it. Thank you. I appreciate you guys hearing me out.
Thomas.
Thank you, Melanie. And I just want to say, I hope that everybody who's on this call understands and feels that I am very compassionate towards your comments. They mean a lot to me. And again, I don't just disregard them. My whole agency just doesn't disregard them. But all I wanted to do, Melanie, was just give you guys my email address. And if anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. And I'll give anybody a moment who needs to grab a pen and a piece of paper. Or you can put it in a, I don't see a chat on here.
Me too.
Yeah.
We aren't allowed to have one, unfortunately. So you will have to say it a couple of times.
Okay.
And this is being recorded.
Yeah, it's really simple. It's THYATT, and let me just say, no relation. Okay. I'd probably be at a hotel in the south of France if I were. Anyway, so THYATT at Fred Brown, it's FREDBROWN.org.
P. Hyatt at fredbrown.org.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And I actually much prefer to meet with people in smaller groups. The town hall,
yes,
it was a disaster. And I'll just tell you guys, I had worked out a format with Pamela Thornton, who's Tim's planning director, and it had nothing to do with Pamela, but the format was changed literally like a minute before we started, and there was nothing that we could do about it. It was not supposed to go that way.
Thomas, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
This is back to the application thing. So this, please smack me if I'm out of line or whatever.
I wouldn't do that.
But have you actually sat down and read the 179-page application?
I think it's actually 189, maybe even more, but I have read it, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure because I've read it like 5 times. And so that's why I'm just trying to understand everything and absorb and just really understand what's going on so that I can be able to, when questions are asked, be able to be informed about them and then also me knowing what I know working from grants before in my past and doing that, it's just the whole concept that I know that when you work with the federal government or you work with the state, they're very beholding to, you have to follow those guidelines, and not what you say in a town hall or what you say on a flyer. It's what you presented on that state application. So that's what you're going to be held to. And that's where I get concerned because the math isn't mathing as far as what's been represented in the town halls when I watched on Zoom and I think that's where a lot, again, repeating myself, where a lot of confusion comes in for the public and in general is because they aren't really sure what these numbers are because one thing was told to them in the town hall, but the application says a totally different scenario. And one of the things that was pointed out in the town hall is they said there would be no justice involved people at the facility, where the application says 90% of the people that were going to be treated are justice involved. So we're going to be treating SPA 8, SPA 6, and SPA 7 areas. And that becomes a concern because that reaches all the way to Inglewood, all the way to Baldwin Hills, all the way to Cerritos. And we need to take care of what's in the vicinity that we can handle in our area, but
absolutely
take care of everybody else's issues.
Right. No, SPA 8 will always have the first priority, Melanie. There's like 81 beds short in SPA 8, and SPA 8 will always have first priority.
Right, but SPA 8 is all the way out to Inglewood.
Yeah.
Why are we taking care of Inglewood's issues when we've got our own issues in the harbor area.
Yeah, that's a spa boundary. I can't speak on that.
Yeah. So I think personally, that's where I see the conflicts and a lot of.
Were you at the town hall, Melanie?
I watched on Zoom.
Okay, so Kira Bakari, who is our project manager, she's not an employee, but she's the one who put that grant together, her and her partner, Clark Reed. Maybe someday we can arrange to all sit down together and have this discussion.
Yeah, that would be good because there's a lot of confusion, like I said, and I know a little bit more than to be dangerous on this. So, yeah. So anyway, and I'm going to be honest with you, Tom. I know it's not you guys, it's the owners of the facility. I'm concerned about the seniors there, and for the type of people that are in there, you can't just up and move them because they're memory care patient. It destabilizes them. It does a lot of things to them because it's hard for them to adjust to a new place.
And I share those concerns very much, Melanie.
I feel in my heart too, I'm a little bit concerned about those 73 elderly residents that are there.
Right.
And
I am as well. I know, look, if this goes through, the first monies wouldn't even drop until about a year from now. And we wouldn't even be on the property until maybe like a year and a half. So if they are going to be relocated, and it breaks my heart too, believe me, my grandmother, I'm going to cry, but my grandmother was my all-time favorite person on this planet. And so I get very emotional when it comes to the elder. I actually I'm the secretary of the board of directors of an organization called Peninsula Seniors. It's based in Rolling Hills Estates. And I've been on that board for about 3 years now. And it's a wonderful organization. And so, I have a lot of compassion towards the elderly.
Yeah, so yeah, that's just my thoughts. Gwen, you have your hand up.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Tom, because my mother, I had her in the same place for many years, and it was a godsend that she was able to stay there. Because as time went by, she was losing more of her memory, and it was actually something that continued to be subconsciously in her mind, that she was always in the same place. And that's very important. But I am hoping that the next presentations, if there are any, even if they're at the town halls, can be more formed out regarding the actual layout of the facility, drawings of the layout.
Yeah, we do have all of that, Gwendolyn.
Wonderful, yeah. And
understand, we are not changing the outside of the facility at all. Nothing on the outside will change.
But I actually digressed. I am glad that you mentioned that you have a 5-year plan. Do you also have a 10-year plan and a list of grants that you will be continuing to work on for other measures? Because you do say that this is only for the purchase of the building. So do you already have other a whole list of goals and a schedule of how to continue to build on this?
Yeah, we definitely have all of that. Again, the purchase price has been mentioned and how the increase in the purchase price for the last couple of years. Let me just say that the appraisal, what happened is that this property was just not doing well financially. So apparently the Little Sisters just threw this property out in the market for basically a fire sale and said, we'll take 20 million bucks for this property. And then of course someone came along and snagged it up right away. This property has been appraised for well over twice that by an independent appraiser. So it's not like, we're coming up with this number or we're trying to make somebody wealthier or give somebody a huge profit. This number was completely arrived at by an independent appraiser. It had nothing to do with Fred Brown whatsoever.
Yes. Well, no, we understand that. Yeah.
Okay, Lori, I'm gonna call on you.
Thank you, Melanie. So first of all, anybody who knows me knows that safety is always a top concern of mine. And also, yeah, I was upset a little earlier, and I don't want to come off that I'm a saint and I'm high and mighty and I'm looking down on others. That's not the case at all. Um, I was treated very badly at that town hall. Okay, I was booed and screamed at and told to shut up, and nobody cares what I have to say. I was very disrespectful. I honestly found it traumatic. I felt like the next 2 days I had PTSD. I turned my phone off for 2 days. Okay, so please don't ask for another town hall. Let them do a presentation online or something, but we can't allow that to happen again. That was just a stain on our community.
That
And when it
wasn't the
comes
request.
and when it
Nope.
comes to helping people, I'm sorry, compassion should have no borders. Okay, Spa 8, yeah, it goes all the way to Inglewood, includes El Segundo, Gardena, Carson. Okay, helping people is helping people. I deal with the same thing with homelessness. I don't want to help them because they live across the street. Jurisdictional issues drive me absolutely nuts. And I have to wonder how many people, even that went to the town hall, have themselves an issue with alcohol or a family member. So when you talk about these people, we're not talking about strung out addicts with needles sticking out of their arms walking down the street. These are you and me, average people that have a hard time. And for whatever they have the ism, the alcoholism or the addiction ism. And yeah, I'm always going to have compassion for these people. But to treat people who have a different opinion, I have tried very hard to be respectful, even though I have been continually disrespected. I stay off social media on this stuff because, and there's no place for me to have a forum to say I support what they're doing. Why can't we work together and help Fred Brown's organization make this a success? List your concerns. They're not putting these people in overnight. It's going to be at least a year. And lastly, let's please take the seniors off the discussion table. Fred Brown had nothing to do with it. The people couldn't afford to run it anymore. They were going to sell that anyway. There is nobody who isn't deeply concerned about the seniors. For homelessness, seniors are the fastest growing demographic of people becoming unhoused. It just rips my heart out. We all care. Okay. But this isn't an option now. There's no organization that put in a bid to try to continue to run it as a senior memory care or assisted living. It's just not there. So let's not bring up spilt milk. There's nothing we can do about that. But let's try and make this work. And let's please try and find a way to be more respectful. I always care about the safety of the community. And if I came off differently, I apologize. Thank you.
Okay, Lorene. Lorene's going to be, holy crap, oh, what is going on here? Okay, Lorene, there you go.
Hi, thanks again. So I'm not sure why Lori thinks she has the right to say that, but she speak freely. It's a free society, I hope.
Well, gee, thanks.
Yeah. So I'm going to say this unequivocally. I want her to say this loud and clear. Town hall meetings are for everyone. That's the whole point. And that meeting, I was there, went a certain direction, which maybe Lori doesn't like. Maybe she found it offensive, but the crowd was overwhelmingly shocked and perhaps not in favor of what they were being told. Now, that might be hard to hear if you're in favor of it, but frankly, that's the way it was. And to talk about not that you don't like lines being drawn, those are the laws and those are the rules by which we all have to play. I would expect that we all agree that those are the rules and laws and the boundaries. They are what they are. We need to work within them. And to take the seniors off the table, absolutely not. It's the biggest growing population. I took my father up to the hill when he was elderly and tried to get him into some of those facilities up in Palos Verdes and around the neighborhood. They were so exorbitantly expensive. The Little Sisters of the Poor and the new owner, Grace, for whatever reason. But there was a passing of the baton to take care of elders. That is going to be a growing need. That's not to say there's not a growing need in the addiction world. We're all well aware of that, which goes back to scale. But the seniors do not come off the table. They stay on the table. They will be unhoused. They will be homeless. You're talking about homelessness. You're talking about compassion. They will not be taken out of the equation. So, yeah. Anyway, there are differences of opinion. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Lorraine. Okay, Zoom user. This is going to be the last round because we've got to move on. There you go. Okay, Marissa.
Oh, thank
Go
you. Just because the property question came up about, anyways, my question is about the covenant. Tom, do you know anything about the covenant? Can you say anything to that?
Oh, he's muted. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to keep the sound down and the interference. So
From what I know, the covenant covered just a very, very small portion of that property, and it has been removed and the deed has been recorded. So the covenant no longer exists.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
okay, and Thomas, did you have your hand up to talk again too?
I think it was just to answer that question. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Can I ask one question, Melanie, real quick? Are you going to move on to item number 6?
Yes.
Is that something that I need to be here for?
No, you don't, because we're just discussing the process.
My day started at 6:30, and it's going to start that way again tomorrow.
Sounds good.
But I do want to say I appreciate every single one of you. I appreciate your comments. They mean a lot to me. And again, you have my email address. Please reach out to me.
And we greatly appreciate your time too, Tom.
And I say this all the time, and I get emotional, I'm sorry. And I mean this with all my heart. I love you guys. I'm a very loving, compassionate person. So I appreciate being here, and I appreciate all the wonderful, kind things that you guys said to me. And I hope to see you again soon.
Okay, thank you, Thomas.
Thank you so much.
Emma, Sally, you had your hand up again. Did you want to say anything, or because it went up, it went down, it went up? Yes, no? Okay. This will be our last
Sure.
person.
Sorry. I just wanted to say, Lori, I understand you're so passionate about this. I get that because I have siblings that continue to struggle with addiction. And I know what it's like taking them to a facility. I know what it's like when they leave the facility because it's not locked down, because they are adults, because they take off and wander the surrounding community. So I get the passion, I get wanting to help people, but to ask us to take the seniors off the table is like asking you to take the behavioral necessity that's needed to treat some of these people. So I think it's unfair for you to ask us to not consider the injustice that's happening to these seniors, not only to them, to the surrounding area, to this preschool that's less than 1,000 feet, to the 3 elementary schools around the corner, to the high school with 2 campuses down the street. So I think for you to ask that is completely unfair. And we're going to continue to fight for the people that need to have a voice, who have not been made aware of the situation and have not had any kind of engagement in what is going to be done with them. Thank you. That's my final comment. I appreciate you calling on me.
Okay, so that will be it for that item. And we're going to move on to item number 6 real quick. We're short on time now. So what I'm going to do is just kind of brief, and I want everybody to kind of go back, and we'll put this on, continue it on to the next public safety meeting, but just briefly talk about it. So one of the discussions I want to talk about is the restrictions kind of on grants, because it seems as though some of these grants, one of the things that has been represented in one of the response letters to Tim McCoster was that basically it's self-reporting. So it's they report, they say, and they take their word for it that that's what it is on a lot of the stuff that they did outreach. They did this, and the listing that they do for outreach. And that's not just Fred Brown, on any grant, on any type of state grant like this. And so I really truly believe that this process, you know, what Tim has spoke about, that this process shouldn't be so check off the box and give it to you type thing. It should be more inclusive of EIRs and zoning stuff and all of that, and vetting and actual real outreach to like people that live around that and are in that area, and not somebody in another town, you know, as be considered outreach. So Gwen, your input on this.
Well, I really honestly, much of the concerns about this entire process has been created because of the state grant process. I do hope that we can come up with a valued letter to give to, and hopefully in time for the candidates for our assembly, and I believe the senator is also, is our senator also campaigning right now? But take this to the state representatives, take it to the governor, regarding the problems with this process. It and that there needs to be reform. When things are elected, when things are put on a ballot, it's a very general thing. They don't go into the weeds. And this is true in our federal government as well. They don't go into the weeds and just break everything down into detail. How after the people vote for this money to go towards mental health care facilities, substance abuse / mental, healthcare facilities, and that we're putting some big money behind it. Everybody voted for that, but the mechanics of it are never really outlined very well. And so there is a possibility for reform. There are motions and bills that can come through to improve upon this. And it will help to keep other communities from having the confusion, the lack of data, the lack of information that is currently happening now with San Pedro.
Right.
And I will honestly say that, for example, the town hall, I considered that, even though it was angry, and there was negativity, and none of us can deny that. There were a lot of really good things said, or informational things that it's one of those things where it can be a learning experience for figuring out what kind of information the community might want to hear as this develops. And what more on Fred Brown's part, what they already have developed. And because once again, vagaries and generalities just don't do it. And everybody wanted more specifics, and those are things that can be addressed. But this state grant thing, I true hope that we can even write a motion, get into the weeds that way. Maybe we can get the community involved in writing a motion to hand it to our newly elected assembly member, and definitely push it towards our candidates. Thank you.
So I'm going to move this agenda item to next meeting so that we can talk more in depth about it and be a little more prepared for it too. This one agenda item took a lot out of it, actually two of them did. So for the meeting tonight, and it's getting on to 7:43. So I think we're good for tonight and call it a night for the meeting, and then we'll take this up next month at the next public safety meeting.
Great meeting, Melanie.
So if no one's opposed, are you good with that, John?
Yes, ma'am.
I move we close the meeting.
And I second it.
And none opposed? Nope. Stop recording at 7:44. Okay.